microphone. 23 teams to go on my road to predict all 131 teams this college football off season. Today, we are moving on to the Mid-American Conference, going power ranking style as usual. And we're starting out with the Akron Zips. Now, Akron, never really a team known for their football program. In fact, usually one of the worst teams in the Mid-American Conference. However, this year there is a little bit of reason for some optimism. Joe Moorhead is coming over to be that new head coach for this Akron team. But does that mean Akron will be able to get out of the depths of the Mid-American Conference, or will this still be one of the worst teams in the nation in 2022? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome to my channel. I'm predicting all 131 teams this college football offseason, which means I'm doing your favorite team, and chances are I've already done them. Hit the subscribe button, go through, look at playlists on my channel. Probably have already done your favorite team. And for fans of the Akron Zips out there, you guys are going to know this team a lot better than I do. So if you feel like I missed something, you want to add something, leave it in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to hear what you guys have to say. So let's talk about Akron in 2022. This is my 12th ranked team in the Mid-American Conference coming into the 2022 college football season. There are 12 teams in the conference, 12th place. You guys can probably finish the rest from there. This is my last place team in the Mid-American Conference. And again, just weren't a very good team a season ago. 2-10, 1-7 in conference. However, this Akron team showed some more fight than they have had in previous seasons. Didn't really amount to anything special, though. Offensively, only 339 yards per game with barely 20 points per game, 19.8 to be more exact. And defensively, yeah, this is the worst defense in the Mid-American Conference, 467 yards per game with 39.5 points per game. So Akron definitely needing some work here on this team. But hey, again, there is some good news. Joe Moorhead is going to come in and be that head coach for the Akron Zips. So maybe some room for optimism, and maybe they can get some things going here in year one. But there's a lot of offensive talent that is leaving this team. A lot of offensive talent that is leaving this team. Zach Gibson and Cato Nelson, a couple quarterbacks leaving the room. Zach Gibson had 1,262 yards, 10 touchdowns, and no interceptions a season ago. So you lose your highest quarterback in terms of passer rating from a season ago. And then Nelson had 445 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick a season ago. You lose him out of that quarterback room as well. However, they do return another guy that played quarterback for them last year, and we'll get to him in a little bit. The wide receiver room loses a plethora of talent here as well. Most notably is Kanata Mumpfield. Now, if you don't know that name, well, either you didn't watch Mid-American football or you're not a Pittsburgh Panther fan. Get to know that name. He's transferred over to the Pittsburgh Panthers, but he was the lead receiver last year and was fantastic. 751 yards and 8 touchdowns a season ago. I think he's going to do some incredible things with Pitt this year. Also, lots of other wide receivers leaving this room. Michael Matheson, George Qualls, and Andre Williams. Couple other names that are leaving this team. That was your second, fourth, and fifth leading receivers from last year, respectively. Michael Matheson had 706 yards, 3 touchdowns, so was another 700-yard receiver on this team. Now, defensively, though, this team doesn't lose a whole lot. Brandon Biskoff has gone off the linebacking group. A.J. Watts has gone out of the defensive back room, as well as Randy Cochran. So there's not a whole lot of defensive talent leaving. Brandon Biskoff had 23 tackles last year. A.J. Watts had 30 tackles last year. And then Randy Cochran had also 23 tackles a season ago. So returning a lot of that defense, but it's an offense that definitely needs to find its guys, especially in the wide receiver room. Sorry, you got a little sneak peek of the schedule there. But let's talk about some talent that is coming back for this Akron team. DJ Irons figures to be that quarterback heading in to next season. 892 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions a season ago. So he figures to be that starting quarterback for the Akron Zips coming into this year. They are getting a running back transfer over from Minnesota, and Cam Wiley was also a very good addition in the special teams aspect of things for Minnesota last year. So figure you can see him returning some kickoffs and punts there as well. Otherwise, Jonzel Norrells is coming back, was that leading rusher a season ago at 573 yards and 3 touchdowns. And speaking of rushing, DJ Irons, the quarterback for next year, 296 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So pretty good numbers there. Now, in the wide receiver position, Pitt and Akron kind of swapped receivers. So Kanata Mumpfield is going over to Pitt, And then Jacques Louis is coming over to this Akron program and should be that best receiver in the wide receiver room. Otherwise, you have Tony Grimes, who was coming back, had 133 yards and a touchdown a season ago. You also have a tight end in Tristan Brandt, who is coming back. That was your third leading receiver a season ago at 269 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with Mumfield and Matheson was the only other guy over 200 yards. And then you also have another transfer from LSU and Alex Adams coming over to this team as well. Now, when you take a look at the defensive side, well, there's a lot of nice talent here. Zach Morton, Bryce Wilson, going to be highlighting that defensive line, along with Ryan McClain, although he can play some linebacker as well. Jess Lord Boateng, Bubba Arcelanian. I probably said that last name wrong. I apologize. Couple linebackers there, as well as Andrew Ben. And then in the defensive back position, I know I will butcher this last name, so I apologize. Charles Amankwa is coming back on the defensive side, and then Jalen Kelly Powell as well. And you can make an argument those were their best 2 defensive backs a season ago. In fact, they probably were the best 2 defensive backs a season ago for this team. But again, this was not a defense that was really great last year. So while you have a lot of experience coming back, you got to make it count on the football field. Now I will fully reveal the schedule. You guys got a little sneak peek of it just a moment ago. Some technical glitches there. But when we take a look at this schedule, the non-conference slate is very hard for this Akron team. I mean, you got to go on the road to play 3 real tough games. On the road to play Michigan State, a really good team from last year. On the road to play Tennessee. The people in Neyland Stadium are figuring to have a pretty good team to root for this year. And then on the road against Liberty, even though Malik Willis isn't that quarterback, Charlie Brewer is, and that's still going to be a solid Liberty team. Otherwise, your other non-conference game is against the St. Francis Red Flashes. When you look in conference play, you have home games against Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio, and Eastern Michigan, and then road games against Northern Illinois, Buffalo, Kent State, and Ohio U. So kind of talking about Akron here a little bit, diving into the schedule again. Michigan State, Tennessee, Liberty. That's a tough 3-game stretch. You have to go on the road to play all 3 of those games. And I don't like Akron's chances to win a single one. But I do like their chances to beat St. Francis and start the year off strong with a win. And I think that's very important for Akron and new head coach Joe Moorhead this upcoming season. Now, when you look in conference play, though, that's where things get a little tricky. Because the offense for this Akron team, I think, is going to struggle this upcoming season. And while there is talent here, I don't know that DJ Irons is necessarily the quarterback of the future. Now, they just have to make do with this season, maybe have a new quarterback next year. If not, maybe DJ Irons is back next season. But when you take a look at this conference schedule, I mean, a lot of tough games are on the schedule. Central Michigan, I think, is going to be one of the best teams in the Mid-American Conference this year. And I love Lou Nichols, led the nation in rushing last year, could absolutely do it again in 2022. Kent State, that's usually a good Kent State team. You got to go on the road to play them. Ohio should be better than they were last year. Bowling Green also is making some improvements, and they're the leading team in returning production. Eastern Michigan, that's a solid team. Same thing with Miami of Ohio, and they could have the best quarterback in the conference, could Miami of Ohio, and Brent Gabbert. On the road against Northern Illinois, the team that won the conference last year and is returning quite a few of their conference winning pieces from last year. So looking at this Akron schedule, maybe they win a game in MAC play. I mean, maybe it's that home game against Bowling Green right there. I mean, Bowling Green, even though they're returning a lot of talent, definitely still not going to be one of the better teams in the Mid-American Conference. But this is a tough schedule for Akron, and it's especially a tough non-conference draw with the likes of Michigan State, Tennessee, and Liberty. I mean, those are 3 games right there that you got to go on the road for, and then you have to jump in the MAC play the next week. Yeesh, that's going to be a rough 3-game stretch for the Akron Zips. Now, I don't do game-by-game predictions. I do a more percentage-based outlook. Let me predict the team's record. So if the game's in red, I just don't see you winning the game. If the game's in orange, I still don't see you winning, but it is college football and upsets can happen. Yellow, your 50-50 high upset potential games. Games in yellow-green are games that you should win, but you got to watch out for the teams on the other side of the ball. And games in green, I have you winning. So no games in the darker green, but in the lighter green, you see the St. Francis game. They should be able to win that one and start off the year strong 1-0. But then their next 11 games after that, I mean, they're probably going to be underdogs in every single game besides that St. Francis game this upcoming season. I mean, Akron just not projected to be a very good team. I don't think this is going to be a very good team. They're going to have a tough time winning any game here in conference play, especially that Bowling Green game that I do have highlighted in yellow. It's in yellow. Akron has that game at home. If you want to win a game in Mid-American play, I think there's your game right there that you can go ahead and pull off the victory. But otherwise, Eastern Michigan's a solid team. Maybe could be a little vulnerable. They're going to try a new quarterback this year with Ben Bryant gone. We'll see if the replacement can be as efficient as him. Buffalo is losing a lot of talent, but a lot of people think that Buffalo team should still be a better football team than last year, even though they're losing the likes of Kyle Van Treese, Kyle Marks. Lots of talent leaving that team. Northern Illinois, again, is the MAC champions. Miami of Ohio has the best quarterback in the conference, or one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the conference. Ohio should be better than last year. Central Michigan's one of the favorites in the conference. Kent State's one of the favorites in their division. Akron just has a tough schedule. They're not winning any of the other non-conference games besides that St. Francis game. And in fact, I don't even think they're going to win a conference game this year. I have them beating St. Francis and then kind of losing out. But 0-12, I think, is a good possibility for this team. Look, Joe Moorhead, I think, can get things going here. And there are some solid transfers on the offensive end. I think Cam Wiley can have a good year. I think Shockey Jacques-Louis can have a good year. I think Alex Adams can play a pretty good role. But I do not see this Akron team doing much in 2022. I have them at 1-11. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, anything like that to help support the channel. Akron, unfortunately, 1-11 this upcoming season, in my opinion. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.